Salmon provides exceptional nutrition, 131% of daily vitamin D for sockeye, 80% of B12, 50% of niacin, plus vitamins B6, B2, B5, B1, A, and E, combined with omega-3 fatty acids and high-quality protein. Salmon is genuinely a nutritional superstar. The B vitamin complex supports energy metabolism and nervous system function, while vitamin D is essential for bone health, immune function, and mood. The recommendation to consume salmon 1 to 2 times weekly as primary fish intake is consistent with general dietary guidelines for fatty fish consumption. This frequency provides omega-3s and vitamins without excessive mercury exposure, as salmon is relatively low in mercury compared to larger predatory fish. The preparation suggestions, baking, grilling, poaching, are all appropriate and relatively simple. The instruction not to overcook, keeping salmon slightly translucent in center, is good culinary advice. Overcooked salmon becomes dry and loses appeal. However, let's address the wild versus farm debate. The document states that wild-caught salmon typically has higher omega-3 and vitamin D content than farmed, though farmed is more sustainable. This is a significant oversimplification of a complex issue. Wild salmon has variable omega-3 content depending on species and life stage. Farmed salmon often has higher fat content overall, including omega-3s, because of diet and less exercise. The vitamin D content varies significantly by diet and environment, so the claim that wild is nutritionally superior isn't always accurate. The sustainability claim that farm salmon is more sustainable is highly contentious. Open-net pen salmon farming has significant environmental impacts: pollution, disease transmission to wild populations, use of wild fish for feed, and genetic impacts when farmed fish escape. Land-based recirculating aquaculture systems are more sustainable but less common. Wild salmon fisheries can be well managed and sustainable, but overfishing is a concern for some stocks. The reality is that both wild and farm salmon have environmental and nutritional trade-offs, and the best choice depends on specific fishery management, farming practices, and individual priorities. Presenting a simple wild for nutrition, farmed for sustainability conclusion glosses over this complexity. The note that sockeye read, "Salmon has the highest vitamin D" is useful information. Sockeye is also typically wild-caught rather than farmed, which affects availability and cost. The mention of eating the skin if it's crispy and delicious acknowledges that salmon skin can be unappetizing if not properly prepared. Crispy skin requires high heat and dry surface. Patting salmon dry before cooking helps achieve this. Using canned salmon with bones for calcium is practical advice. Canned salmon is affordable, shelf-stable, and nutritious. The soft bones are edible and provide significant calcium. However, canned salmon has a stronger flavor and different texture than fresh, which some people find off-putting. The combination of vitamins D and B12 is highlighted as particularly valuable since both are commonly deficient nutrients. Vitamin D deficiency is widespread, particularly in northern latitudes and among people who spend limited time outdoors. B12 deficiency is common among older adults due to decreased absorption and among people following plant-based diets. The suggestion to pair salmon with leafy greens for comprehensive vitamin nutrition is sound. This provides vitamins from both animal and plant sources in complementary proportions. What I find valuable about salmon recommendations is the recognition of multiple forms: fresh, frozen, canned. This provides access at different price points and preparation skill levels. However, cost is a significant barrier. Fresh salmon is expensive, often $8 to $15 per pound or more. For families on limited budgets, eating salmon twice weekly may not be feasible. Canned salmon is more affordable but less appealing to many people. The broader issue is that salmon is held up as this ideal food, which it is nutritionally, but access is limited by cost and geography. For people living far from coasts or without access to quality seafood markets, fresh salmon may not be a realistic option. Frozen salmon is more accessible but often viewed as inferior, though properly frozen fish can be excellent quality.